Yo, what's up YouTube? My name's RO, and this video is my affirmation video about this book, 3 Feet from Gold, that I've been writing out of through the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And this is chapter 6. You can see I wrote it here in my, I basically just copied the book. So, excuse me. But this is chapter 6, and this is formulating success. And I'm just gonna read it to you. So it's my affirmation video, so like I'm just repeating it to myself over and over and over again. You can see on all my other videos, it's all the same thing. But anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and formulate success. We're gonna formulate success, man. Chapter 6. You just listen. See, like that, just listen. All right, anyways. Greg handed the driver the fare with a generous tip. Thankfully, you see that? It's manifesting. Greg handed the driver the fare with a generous trip, thanking him for his hospitality and the trip from the airport. Climbing back into the front seat after helping his fare with the luggage, the cabbie wished all his customers were friendly and generous as this one. Little did the driver know. I love these videos, man. That before meeting Buckland, Greg had rarely thanked anyone, nor had he been much of a tipper. Something was changing. Greg wasn't even through the lobby of the hotel when his cell phone rang. A deep, controlled voice said, "Good morning, this is Jack Mates. Hello, Mr. Mates. Call me Jack. I understand you and I be getting together today. Yes, I am looking forward to it. Where shall we meet? There is a coffee shop in the river called Katie's. It's a classic. They've been talking about it, tearing down the place for years. You should experience it before it's gone. Sounds perfect." The tour is concluded. Let's make it at around 1 o'clock so we missed the lunch crowd. Greg got to the coffee shop early. When Jack arrived, Greg immediately identified him through all to which he had met, showing up in his pressed button-down shirt and a sweater mates, and had looked sophisticated with appearance and a distinctly positive aurora. "You must be Greg," he said, reaching to shake hands. "Over the years, Buckland has only asked me to meet a handful of people. You must be special." "I didn't realize that. Thanks for sharing the information. It's an honor to meet you." As they sat down at the table across from each other, Mates asked, "How may I serve you?" "Serve me," repeated Greg. "No one has ever asked me that question. I should be asking you, how can I serve you?" "On my flight over, I read through your bio. I have to say, it's humbling to be sitting with you now. Just knowing that you're the former CEO of Velcro USA, that you're a war hero, and that you helped start the distinguished flying cross society intimidates me a bit." Jack said, "Oh, I don't see myself as a hero, more of as a patriot who has done his part as to serve his country in a greater cause." Then let me switch gears and ask about Velcro in the early days. What was he like? Was he exciting? Though when it was at first released, the product definitely was not received eagerly. Plus, there were many more challenges along the way. Most people would have probably quit at some point. "Challenges?" Greg prompted. "Oh my, yes. You see, when you have the first starter, you recognize its unbelievable possibilities of Velcro, yet we had to go through years of R&D, just like the makers of most products, such as, well, for one thing, getting the hooks to work the right way. The idea originally came to his Swiss inventor, George de Mastral. After he had been walking his dog through a field, he discovered that his dog's coat and his pants were covered, and it made him think how useful it would be to recreate a shocking action in everyday products. The hook part clung to the softening material and created the bond, attempting to reproduce that in the product form and the product in which it formed was our first obstacle. You can now manufacture an actual hook made from polyester line of string. What did you do? We discovered that if we made simple loops of the thread, then cut them in the center, they would automatically retract to create the two hooks going in the opposite direction and give us the result we were looking for. Sounds simple. Greg sipped his coffee. Most challenges in life have simple solutions. Sometimes you just need to step back and look at the situation, look at it from a different angle, and to get the best perspective. You wouldn't believe me how many attempts it took for us to figure out the Velcro hook. Greg pulled out his notebook and wrote, "Sometimes you have to step back and look at your situation from a different angle, and a different solution will appear." Greg then asked the question that had been running through his mind since he had first learned he would be meeting his industry maverick. "I'm in sales. I have been my whole life. I need to know something, and you may be the only person who can explain it. How on earth did you sell 5 billion people Velcro?" "We didn't," came the quick reply. "We sold Velcro to 6 people." Greg stared at his lunch partner with a confused expression. Mate said, "What I did was capture the leaders. I knew it would take forever to discover and sell everyone in the world on the many uses and this ingenious material, so I set my sights on selling only 6 specific individuals, the heads of the automotive, medical, aerospace, fashion, and furniture industries. In other words, I captured the leaders and then allowed them to corner their individual markets. In turn, they discovered the applications for the product and sold it to the ultimate consumers." Greg's brain churned through the simplicity and the magnitude of such a message. Now Mates added, "It seems you can't find a pair of shoes and set on a plane and a blood pressure cuffed to your brain without the stuff it's everywhere." Greg flipped open his notebook and wrote, capture the leaders, corner the market." Greg asked, "So before you got to that level, was it pretty challenging in the early years?" "It really was. What kept us going was our sense of purpose. As I mentioned, there were many years of trial and error before we got the product to work properly. We knew it would revolutionize the fastener industry, and we needed to keep going. No matter what, we just wouldn't quit. As in many startups, it's even got to the point where we couldn't afford payroll, so I had to mortgage my house to pay for the staff. That's how much I was committed to the dream. That's amazing. I wish I could find something like that I was able to be passionate about." "You can?" Mates exclaimed. "I think that's why Bucky sent you to me, to discover your success equation." "Oh yeah," Mr. Buckland said something about that. "Another young man I mentor came up with and included in a movie called Pass It On. After interviewing hundreds of leaders, he put into words that these people, have done to create a life of sustained abundance." Jack paused and then looked at his notepad. "Let me borrow that, please." "Sure," Greg said, sliding it over. Jack Mates flipped it over, and the sheet wrote, in parentheses, P plus T times A equals success. Pointing at the first letter in the equation, P, Mate said, "This stands for passion. Combine your passion with what you love to do, and of course you could do it for free." He moved his finger to the T. "With your talent, what you're really good at, multiply that by finding the right association." He parted the first A, which means working with the right people or organizations, and then taking action. He pointed to the second A, and then just as you may discover your life's purpose. Do this, and you will have great success. It works. Greg moves and looked at the equation. But, what if my passion is professional basketball, and my talent is, say, management? Throw in the fact that I am out of shape and a bald man, I would have had a hard time being able to do that for a living, right? You are both right and wrong, Jack noted with a smile. If you love basketball and you are a great manager, couldn't you simply find the right association and take action, become a basketball player on the local campus, and become a sports announcer for TV or radio, and buy a team on the basketball score? Sell tickets to the game? Become a camera operator at the sports arena? I get it. You get it. It wouldn't matter what position I held because I would still be combining with what I love with what I do best. So do something I love, that I'm good at, With the right people, you got it. All people have their own equation. That is the best for them. Really? Absolutely, said Jack. I know someone who loved to travel. That was his passion, like your example. He too was a great manager, so he created a career for himself by calling the top resorts around the world and offering services as a secret shopper. Now all he does is travel to exotic locations and stay in the best suites, order room service, play golf, and get spa treatments. He evaluates the resort services and reports his findings back to the resort so they can make improvements, and by doing so, he helps create the best experience possible for their guests. I see. He followed his passion, combined it with talent, took action by creating his position. He did it with 5 diamond hotels. That's amazing. Greg picked up the tab to pay the bill. Is there a process of applying this equation? Yes, and it's perfectly simple. Jack flipped another sheet of paper and began to write as he spoke. On one side, and then on the other, things you would do if you could do them for free. They could be anything that makes your heart sing. Then on the other side, list 10 things you're good at, where you excel. Then sit down with the people you know you're best and ask them for your help. With their input, remove one item for each side of your list until you are left with only 2, one from the passion side and another 2 on the talent side. Then find a way to combine those 2 things. Once complete, commit to taking action alongside, excuse me, the right association. And you may just have discovered your own success equation. Passion on one side, 1 through 10, talent on the other, 1 through 10, and you have my member number. Call me if I can have the assistance to you along my journey. You have good energy and you seem determined to learn. I can see why Buckland is supporting you. With these words of encouragement, Mates and Greg exchanged their goodbyes, and Greg headed back to his hotel. He needed a haircut. He needed to call someone he's been trying to reach for several days. Whatever the mind of man can achieve, can conceive, and believe he can achieve. It can conceive. It can achieve. You can achieve anything that you want. It can achieve whatever a man can conceive and believe it can conceive. And believe. Well, anyways, that's the end of chapter 6, Formulating Success. I read it here from 3 feet from gold to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Like Think and Grow Rich, like you can see all my videos. So, I mean, what is there to say? Anyways, my name is R.O. and I hope you're listening to my affirmation video. And I'll see you later. Talk to you later. Bye.